Hello one and all, and welcome to Skyrim VR. Impossible, semi-permadeath, Iron Man-ish. So this is going to be episode 0 as I explain everything that I've got set up, and I've got a lot set up. So before we get into a proper campaign, as short as they might be, first I'm going to go through my script, of which I did actually have to make a script for this one. So first up, we are going to address the giant blurry elephant in the room. Now I do need to point out, unfortunately Skyrim by default only runs at 1024 by 1024 resolution, which of course is not exactly ideal. With a fair amount of research, I've found an INI file that allows me to increase that resolution to a whopping and maximum 1080 by 1080. Again, not really ideal, but unfortunately because the Oculus runs at 1080 by 1080, and because the way Skyrim VR is set up, that's the feed you get on the desktop that you record. And unlike a lot of other VR games, where the desktop feed can be of a higher resolution than the headset feed, it's not the case here. And in fact, originally when I was testing all the recordings, and a fix for this took me a long time, because the desktop feed was a normal FOV, and because it's a 1:1 ratio instead of 16:9, I had to, let's just say, improvise. And the choices were either a box video with black bars on the side, a box video with a blurry background of the same video on either side, zoom the video footage in, making it 16:9, but making the video footage even blurrier, and on top of that making the view feel zoomed in, as if you're constantly looking down the iron sights of a gun, or some combination of all of the above. Now thankfully I did find a workaround. Thank God some people found a line in one of the INI files where you can adjust the FOV of the desktop feed, so I've increased it to maximum, so now when you zoom in, it looks like normal FOV in the video footage. And all of this goes a long way to explain why so few big YouTubers are not touching this game, because there's a lot of work in the INI files you have to do to make the game actually look half decent. But enough about that, let's move on to the game itself. Of course, it will be on Legend difficulty, the highest difficulty in the game, and it will be permadeath Iron Man, or kind of permadeath Iron Man-ish. Each character I create will have 10 lives before they are permanently dead. Now that sounds like a lot, but trust me, I can burn through that in a single battle, and I'll be lucky for any of the characters to even make it to like level 6. Now before we talk about said characters, here are the mods that I am using, because I know so many of you will ask. And yes, this was after I cut back drastically. Like no joke. This was my Skyrim Special Edition mod list on a raw vegan diet. My original mod list for Skyrim had literally broken through the hard cap of 255 ESP files, which are mod files, that the game actually limits you to. So I had the brilliant idea of merging multiple ESP files to combine mods to get around that problem. Suffice to say, I will not be doing that for Skyrim VR. There are, I think, 150 plus mods, 169 I think to be exact. But I didn't do that here because Skyrim is only mildly stable at the best of times. Add 150 plus mods, an aging PC, a VR setup, and recording software on top of that, and well, if any videos actually get made, it will be a damn miracle. Also, keep in mind I got this list from the plugins text file, so the list that you're looking at is actually the ESP file names, and not necessarily the actual mod names. God only knows why many of the mod authors don't call their main ESP file the same name as their actual mod. I'm looking at mod named zombie.esp. So guys, before you ask what a mod is, please do my sanity and I a favour and Google search Skyrim SE, insert ESP file name here, mod. 95% of the time it will come back with the right mod. Google is kind of clever like that. Also need to point out that the categories that they're in may not actually be accurate. I had over 150 mods to get through and a lot of other more important to do beyond that, so you'd have to excuse me if I put a village expansion mod into a home category. Also, this only includes mods that actually have ESP files. This doesn't include compatibility patches or mini mod updates or texture packs that don't even use ESP files, so just bear that in mind. This mod list, as with all the information I'll show in this video, will not be in the description below, because making video descriptions too long causes YouTube to flag the video for what I can only assume is data spamming. That or using words like skimpy armors or sexy mannequins, because unlike Google, YouTube is not smart. So instead, each category that I talk about here will be in the comments below, not the description, and it will be pinned at the top of the comments. So if you're looking for something I talked about in the video, check the top 4 or 5 comments of this video and you should find this information there. So finally, let's talk about the game and the characters that I'll be slaughtering in it. There are 10 races in the game. They're all listed on the screen now, as well as their racial abilities. I'm using Imperious Races mod for that, but mine might be out of date. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. Much like many of my mods, and like them, I have no interest in updating the mods as long as they work. Because like Imperious, I've edited almost half of the mods in this list, in some form or another. So back to Imperious Races. There are 10 in Skyrim. All this information will be its own comment below, and that comment will be pinned. Then there are 13 stand-in stones in Skyrim. For them, I'll be using Aurora Standing Stones, and no, not its sequel, Andromeda Standing Stones. They're pretty comparable, and certainly doesn't warrant enough to actually make me remove one mod and add another, and re-implement all of the edits I made for the original mod into the new one. But all the information about the Standing Stones are on the screen now. Long story short, for those of you that have never played, Standing Stones are objects you can activate to get permanent passives and active abilities, or in the case of Aurora mods, both, as long as you don't activate a different Standing Stone. But again, all this information will be in its own comment below. Next up, I have made 13 classes of sorts, using perks from the Ordinator mod. Again, not the updated version, of which I'm sure there is an updated version, because I've edited this mod pretty heavily. The lists of all the perks are on the screen now. You guys read it? Are you done? Grand, excellent. Moving on. And yes, as always, all this information will be in the comments below. So with these 10 races, 13 Standing Stones, and 13 classes I've built, I've come up with this, only using one Standing Stone per character, and using each race at least once. And as such, I haven't exactly made the optimal choices with each character build. For example, with a pure melee build, it's kind of hard to beat the Orc race and the Warrior Standing Stone. But I wanted to include everything at one point or another. And I know I haven't included every perked tree in the list here. For example, all the characters will use alchemy, smithing, enchanting, and lockpicking, but those that have a major skill will specialize in it, or at least in certain skills that tree has. Likewise, all melee builds will use archery as a secondary, but no bows, only crossbows. Only the pure archer will use bows, because bows in VR are overpowered. Ah! Ah! Die! Die! Yeah, bows are pretty overpowered. And again, all this will be in the comments below. Right, one last thing though about the classes. As you can tell by my channel, these class setups are not role plays. They're built for the sake of diversity. I couldn't care less if a big bulky barbarian Nord is lockpicking his way into someone's shop. So now we have our characters. What happens next? Well, first we go to good old random.org and roll a number between 1 and 13 to see which character we're going to get. Of which, when they die, that class won't get picked again until every other class has had a go. Then we start a new game, and for that we're using Skyrim Unbound to skip the boring Skyrim intro we've all seen a fuss-resilient times. And why not use the mod Live Another Life instead? Well, because it doesn't work with the VR version of Skyrim, at least not without using multiple console commands, which, no thank you, I can't be bothered with that. So then we're going to have the Unbound mod plonk us somewhere on the map at random with starting gear and spells that would make sense to that class. And don't worry, this stuff is all trashed here. But then back to random.org for a couple of more roles. Firstly, where are we going to live? One of the many unique houses mods that I've got installed? One of these Skyrim vanilla houses I've installed mods for? Or build our own house? Or are we going to be nomads? Only random.org knows the answer. Again, this info is in the comments below. Then one last random.org role. What quest will we do? Join the rebellion? Try to get all the dragon masks? Join the College of Winterhold? Become a Thane of every town? Or try to slaughter all the NPCs of every town we come across? Only random.org knows. Although, come to think of it, maybe I will roll 2 quests instead of just one, in case we get one that is absurdly hard that we have no hope in doing, like the aforementioned Dragon Priest masks, where nearly all the Dragon Priests in the game aren't leveled to your character, they are set at level 40, and trying to take them on with a level 5 character is basically impossible, certainly on legend difficulty. But again, all this information will be in the comments below. And before we go any further, why am I doing things like this with all these random.orgs? Well, I initially had each class with an appropriate home in mind, even with appropriate goals. But how often do you guys want to see a mage do the College of Winterhold quest, or a fighter do the companions, or a sneaky sneak doing the Dark Brotherhood or Thieves Guild? I figured I'd invisible ink this and randomize me. And the only reason I'm not doing the same for the races and standing stones and perks is because I just end up with a broken build, and legendary is hard enough, especially on sort of permadeath Iron Man-ish. So finally, with all that done, we can begin. So we head on our way, likely to our first goal, which will be the predetermined standing stone, before probably heading to our random home and seeing what we need to do to get it. You know, assuming we don't get mauled by a bear along the way and lose 2 of our 10 lives. Just doing the first simple task in this harsh, cruel world. I should probably also add, feel free to tell me what mods I should be using, as long as you're prepared to hear me outright refuse, because 95% likelihood I've already considered the mod you're suggesting, and what I already have is either better, sufficient, or I've simply edited the existing mod myself and can't be bothered to go through all that again. That, or I simply don't like the mod. Or of course, maybe it's just not compatible with the other mods that I've got. All with this VR version of Skyrim itself. And not to mention, it has taken me a long time to get this mod list functional. And no joke, I am likely one of those people that has probably spent more time looking for mods, testing mods, editing mods, making mods from scratch, bug fixing my own mods, bug fixing other people's mods, bug fixing mod incompatibilities with other mods, bug bug fixing mod incompatibilities with the game itself than actually playing the game. And I've played this game a lot, and I want to put that modding and editing phase happily behind me. So if you want to see any of the information I've covered here, check the comments below. And if you have any questions about the mod names, please Google search them first. And then if you guys still have any questions about them or anything else I've covered, let me know in the comments below. Now I think it's time to roll our first class, home, and 2 quests. So the first class we're going to be playing as is number 5, and that is the Dual Wielder. Warrior Stone, Red Guard race, light armor, and one-handed. And the home that we're going to be living in is number 19. That's actually the bottom of the list. And it is Cold Stone Manor in Winterhold, one of the vanilla homes that has been modded. And then the quests that we're going to do, first quest is number 15. The College of Winterhold as a dual wielder. That's funny. That's exactly why I did random.org, because I'd never do this otherwise. And our second quest is number 3. That is Kill Dragons. Oh my god, wow. That is not going to go well on Legendary. So guys, right, yes, I forgot 2 things. Firstly, I'll be using the combat mod, as you guys might have seen in the mod list, called Wildcat, which makes the combat generally more brutal. So the enemies are a lot less tanky, and the player is also a little bit less tanky. So people die pretty quick. And also, why am I using my Snowball microphone instead of the microphone on the VR headset, causing me when I'm playing to sound like this, is because when I'm using the microphone on the headset, I will sound like this. The microphone quality on the Rift is absolutely horrible. If you guys do prefer this microphone over the Blue Snowball, which is a high quality microphone, but of course, because it's a standing microphone, it's further away, let me know in the comments below. But if not, I will be sticking with the Snowball microphone. So guys, that is everything. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let anybody else enjoy it as well. And I'll see you guys back here next time for the first episode as our Red Guard warrior tries to join the College of Winterhold and kill some dragons. And wow, I didn't notice, the home that we're going to live in is actually in Winterhold. That's handy. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye everyone. Bye-bye!